Hey everybody, Jake from Jake's Shop and Track Talk. We are going to talk a little bit about claim rules today. Um, yeah, friend of the family the other Saturday night got a win taken away for refusing a claim, an engine claim, and I can't really say I blame him for doing it because the claim price is a little bit low. But then again, I don't have anything per se against a claim rule. It seems to control the cost pretty good. Years ago, when I was racing at Potomac Speedway, we had in the small junk car class, about 10 years ago, we had some guys who had some pretty good cars out there running against us. And it got around that somebody was going to buy one of them, and those guys stopped showing up, and somebody else got to win, and it was okay, and because those guys didn't come once the word got out that they were going to lose their investment, for $500 or something like that. Which, I mean, let's be real, you can't build a race car for $500. You can't build a small block Chevrolet engine for $500. And come on here and tell me you can. I mean, good for you. You've been saving parts, hoarding since the 80s. That's cool. I mean, I understand, I understand that it's meant to keep costs down, and it does. And we had the promoter, he kind of backed off and didn't stand by us, stood by two guys versus 30, and pretty much everything died off. Wasn't really the same after that. Now, the engine claim, okay. $500 won't buy you an engine block anymore. It won't. It won't. I mean, I can go back to 1998, 99, really when I started, putting together motors and stuff like that. I mean, with cast pistons and just polishing the crank and not boring it, maybe just stone honing the block, even that was going to set you back $450, and that's just for the short block. That's 20 years ago. 20 years ago, guys. Now, am I saying that the claim should be $3,000 for a factory stock? No, not at all. Although that's about what it costs you to build a good engine. I mean, I built one last summer that, it's pretty much a claimer piece. It's not anything super special. It's Chevy crank, polished, stock, cast crank. Not turned down, not lightened, none of that bullshit. X rods, balanced, everything. And some Keith Black high-protected pistons. And a set of World Products SR Torquer heads, which I don't care. Hey man, whatever you say, tell me you got some 882s and you make just as much horsepower. Well, good for you, man. The flow bench does not say that you can, and if you want to mill them to within a cunt hair of their life, man, that's good for you. But hey man, we're talking all oil pan up to the intake. We're talking for that engine is $3,100. My money, me doing the work. Now could I sell it in a claim for $500? I mean, if I was running for points, I guess I could, if I had to. But you'd have to have 3 or 4 of those things sitting around, and that's just for a 350. That's not for a 383. And as far as 383s go, if you want to make it a 383 or a 400, then you're going to have to buy stroker crank. Stroker crank won't set you back anymore nowadays. But, you're still going to have to externally balance it, or if you want to get an internally balanced one, that's more money. So we're still talking $3,000. I mean, that's the bottom line. Now I would say maybe the claim could be about $1,200, because what can you get a crate motor for? You can get a Goodwrench crate motor for a Goodwrench 350 crate motor. You can get one of those for about $1,400. Put your intake on it. You'd have to change out the pan, and it'd need a better cam, but you could get that going for about $1,800, I'd say. You could probably trick it into being competitive if you used a Speedway 103 cam. That'd be the bottom line, I think. I mean, I'm not saying anything at all against Crystal or against Mr. Flynn, because he's the best, and it's the best track in the country, if you ask me weekly. But I mean, it was obviously a grudge claim, you know. And I guess the point is just to keep guys like Jake out of there. But what are you going to do? I mean, you can't argue with success. And I still think there's a place for claim rules in racing. I mean, I wish there'd be more of them. And I wish guys would act on them. But $500, now let's be real. You're not even getting a 2-bolt block for that. You're not. I mean, you're not getting a rotating assembly for that. I mean, maybe you can get something out of a Vortec late model stuff. And then you got to deal with rods that got 200,000 miles on them. I mean, I don't know, man. I'm sure there's guys who do it. I'm sure there's guys who say, Jake, oh, you're full of shit, man. I get a motor out of a pickup truck, you know, a 96 or a 97 350, you know, and I just stone hone that motherfucker, and I re-ring it, and I put a cam in there, Vortec intake, and rock and roll. Well, good for you, man. I mean, that's all right. I'm just saying, I don't really have cores. I don't really have good Gen 1 cores beating my door down anymore, man. The hoarders have all of them. All of them that ain't been crushed and melted down and made into fucking razor blades. They're gone, man. I mean, that's the long, tall, skinny of it, you know. Like I say, I'd make a $1,000 claim. I think that'd be fair, you know. All across the country, every street stock division, make a $1,000 motor claim. I'd be okay with that. It'd be a challenge, you know. 'Cause, I mean, you could do a short block for $1,000, and then maybe it'd keep some of the good heads out, you know. That's the reality, you know. Maybe go to a top end claim, you know, make it a $500 top end claim. Get the heads, intake, and carb, and you keep the acid porters out of it, you know, keep the aftermarket heads out of it. But like I said before, I really don't think aftermarket heads are a big cost adder. I mean, if anything, by the time you get a set of junk ass 882 heads that aren't cracked, and then get them all worked so they make any kind of power at all, well, you just spent more than what you would for just some World SR torquers. You know, I mean, I don't really know. There's a whole bunch of ways we can go about it. I live in southeastern Virginia, race in North Carolina. There's no claim rule of any kind in any division around here. And there might have been back in the day, but that would have been a long time ago, long before I ever lived here, growing up in Michigan and stuff like that. If anybody watches this video, let me know in the comments. I'm always glad to talk to other guys who love racing, guys and gals who love racing. Just keep it friendly. I'm being as friendly as I can. I'm not mad, like I say, at all. All the respect in the world to the president and Crystal, but yeah, it's not 1985 anymore. You know, there's Tri-City's got the same issue. If there's going to be a claim rule, it should be at least something that's workable. You know, it's a shame to see guys not be able to go to a different racetrack because they're afraid somebody's going to buy their stuff. I can tell you right now, Jake actually don't have anything fancy, but he can't afford to give it away either. He's only got one motor. Now, like I say, if you guys want to talk about it, if you watch the video, just hit up in the comments below. Keep it friendly, all right? Where it's just bench racing here. It's not life or death. You want to talk about my double chin or how fat I am or anything, that's cool too. I get it, you know what I'm saying? But it is what it is. Thanks for watching, and have a great week. You know, race day will be here soon, guys. Later.